Fins down. Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats post-game podcast live from Studio K. How you doing, Corey Williams? The Arizona Wildcats get a W in the first round of the NCAA Tournament. Had to give an extra bit of passion on the live. It's March Madness, and I feel all this energy coursing through my veins. I have since I woke up this morning. Arizona handles business like we knew that they would against the Long Island Sharks, 92-58. The freshmen, unbelievable today. But we got a very special edition of the pod. Corey Williams joining us. Our guy Damon dealing with some family things today. He'll be back on the next post game. But Corey, former Final Four competitor in his own right for Arizona. How are we doing? What are the vibes on your end like today?
Man, I'm doing great. Vibes are good. Always the best weekend of the year. That first round of college basketball. You got 32 games over 2 days. It's a Hooper's dream. Just sit back and chill. I'm actually not traveling, able to watch games. And speaking of vibes, I got to give a quick shout out to my hardcore Wildcat fans, Josiah, Elijah, and Larissa Rivera, all watching the game. Want to send a shout out to you guys. Junior Wildcat Hoopers in the making. They love the Wildcats, so I just wanted to send them a quick shout. But great vibes today. Wildcats get the win.
It was really great vibes today. As we saw, yesterday with Saul talking to some of the players, we learned that this team was incredibly locked in. And now that was not a question mark coming into the game. We know this team is built differently between the ears and the brain region of the body. But, right, we saw with Duke yesterday against Siena that if you don't come in locked in, you have a 16 seed waiting to knock you off. They're not just showing up for a participation trophy. They want to win a game. And we saw that yesterday against Duke and Siena. You even saw it to a different extent with North Carolina up 16, up big in that game against VCU, and then they end up getting knocked off. So there were multiple lessons yesterday for Arizona to learn if they weren't locked in to get locked in. But we saw a very focused Arizona from tip-off today, Corey. I wanted to ask you this off the top. These freshmen, these unbelievable freshmen, Koa Peat, Brayden Burries, Ivan Kharchenkov, Dwayne Aristode, the list goes on and on. They're almost as good as our presenting sponsor of Branded Bills. Now, Branded Bills is an elite headwear brand, and I got it rocking right now on my head. Corey has a Branded Bills on his head. It might be the most stylish way to rep your team or your brand that I know of, and you can use code BBPHNX for 15% off your next order of the most stylish way to elevate your brand. But I was actually going to ask you about the freshman, Corey. But preseason, you were saying we needed X amount of points, rebounds, and assists from these players. We're far past that. But today, in an NCAA tournament setting, they absolutely went off. What did you see from Arizona's freshmen tonight, or today, I should say?
Well, I saw, more of the same. I think baskets were obviously a lot easier to come by than they've been in the last 5 weeks. Arizona probably played the most difficult schedule of any team in the country during the month of February with the teams that they played back to back to back in the Big 12. Then you add in the Big 12 tournament where they faced a lot of tournament teams there. So to play this level of talent in the opening round is probably a little refreshing. Like I said, we were getting things that we never got before against teams, against them, just because we had a size advantage, and I think there was definitely a talent advantage in our favor. But as far as what I saw from the freshmen, they were doing the things that they've done all season. They were playing focused. They were playing aggressive. It was nice to see people stick to the script, because sometimes what happens when you play against lesser competition and points are easier to get, players can go rogue, players can go renegade and just do their thing, and it doesn't really hurt the overall team because you still get the win. But that wasn't the case. I didn't see anybody playing uncharacteristic today. Solid team win.
Now, that was something that Dwayne Aristode as well as Jaden Bradley had spoken about leading up to this tournament setting, where when you get into the tournament, Tommy Lloyd is telling them, don't do anything you've not already done. We just played damn near 40 games of you to get real game experience. Now, don't get in this tournament and start acting brand new. And I think we did see with this Arizona Wildcats team, they come out crashing the boards early. Mo Krivas looking like a monster down low. What did you see from a physicality standpoint? This is a Long Island team that cannot run with the Arizona Wildcats from a physicality standpoint, but they were able to out-physical a lot of the teams in the neck, as Shane likes to say, the Northeastern Conference. What did you see from Arizona bringing it from a physicality standpoint today that you think might or might not translate to the rest of the tournament?
Well, to repeat the theme, they stuck to the script. This Arizona team is willing and capable of doing whatever they need to do to win a game. If we can beat you up inside, then that's what we'll do. We won't worry about threes. We won't worry about transition. We won't worry about any of that. We'll just beat you up inside. So Arizona took advantage of the paint, and they felt that's the game. That's the way we're going to get this game in the bag. In future games, it may be transition. It may be Burries shooting threes. It may be Jaden Bradley 1-4 flat. It may be Koa Peat ISO on the block. This team will do whatever they have to do to win. So what I saw from them was kind of refreshing. They just kept it simple. Hey, you can't stop us in the paint. That's where we're going to feast. And then once the game's out of hand, they still didn't get sloppy or lackadaisical with the offense. They stayed sharp. They stayed crisp. Locked in is a good way to describe them. I think one of the reasons this team doesn't go off the reservation and doesn't have a series of bad possessions is for one reason only, and it's Jaden Bradley. When your senior is the leader and he's the point guard, everything that happens on the offensive end is at his discretion. And when he's out, Burries is taking over, who sat at the feet of one of the best point guards in the country all season. So he knows exactly what to do. So anytime you have a team that's this talented and they stay balanced, it's because of a mental discipline that starts with a player like Bradley. And then Burries also does the same when he's moved to the point. He runs the show the exact same way.
Corey, you played at a high level in multiple levels of basketball, but specifically I want to talk about the NCAA level. Brayden Burries, the broadcast, was talking about how he showcased everything that you would want to see from a combo guard today. He had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and he was our king of the court today, Brayden Burries was. And that performance that he put out there, he really was showcasing a little bit of everything, the offense, the defense, how special he can be in transition, what he can do as an athlete as well, slamming down a dunk here or two. Brayden Burries, what did you see from Arizona's star combo guard today, Corey?
Well, I want to premise this, and I hate to say that all roads lead to Jaden Bradley, but Burries has had one of the best advantages of all the superstar freshmen in this year's class across college basketball. He's emerged as the leading scorer, but he doesn't have to be the leader. He is getting his numbers, but he doesn't have to be a heavy minute guy. He can sit back and play the two and get transition off a Krivas block, get a wide open three off a Tobe Awaka offensive board, get a great look off a Jaden Bradley assist. He's been able to show his entire game because of the players he's been surrounded with. They've won games in which he hasn't played well, and they've won games because of him. So the other freshmen across the country, too many to name, if they don't play well, their team is in trouble and they will lose. The Bands just put up 35 and got bounced. Jaden Burries is able to show future NBA scouts his complete package, play within a great system with Tommy Lloyd. He doesn't have to force bad shots. He doesn't have to play when he's tired. He doesn't have to stay out there when he's in foul trouble and let people score on him. He doesn't even have the opportunity to develop bad habits. So he's in the optimum position to showcase his skills. And I thought the announcers were really heavy on his game today because, to be honest with you, that's the first time a lot of them seen them up close. They haven't followed him, as intently as we have. So I think he deserves a lot of props because it's one thing to be put in a position. It's another thing to be in that position and thrive. And he is thriving, but he's the happiest, most team-oriented guy you ever want to meet. Whether he plays good or not, he's got the smile on his face, and he's locked into what's going on with the team. So shout out. I wasn't surprised with what I saw about him today. It's interesting hearing people who are a little bit late to the party kind of jump on the Brayden Burries train. And, I mean, they're welcome. We got enough room for him, but we've been talking well about him for 2 or 3 months now.
I do want to bring up John's comment here that says Burries, Bibby, I think he's kind of saying like this is maybe like a trio here: Burries, Bibby, Bradley, some iconic B last name guards. But is there a player in Arizona history that you think kind of played like a Brayden Burries?
At the two, I mean, let's be honest. What Miles Simon did in '97 at the two, what penetrating jump stop amongst the trees, being the leader of that team. Um, I see a lot of similarities. Miles Simon was the difference maker in so many games for Arizona. Burries has been the difference maker in several games for Arizona. He doesn't. He's not the primary ball handler like Bibby was. I think Bibby is a once in a lifetime type situation where the best
Yeah.
point guard in the country comes to a great team, handles the rock all season, and is the primary ball handler and contributor on a national championship team. So I wouldn't put Burries in the Bibby class. Um, Miles was most valuable player of the national championship game. I don't know that he's really touching Wildcat royalty just yet, but if Arizona is playing in Indianapolis, then you got to come back to me because we got to rewrite the story. And that's what I love about sports. The athletes get to write their own story.
I'm glad you put it that way, Corey, because I do think that a big part of this story and, is what they end up doing with this talent, like Brayden Burries, like you were saying. And I think that I was hearing people say about Brayden Burries, well, he's not putting up these huge numbers like some of these A-Cuffs or some of these Michael Browns or whatnot. But what you said there is what I want to really dig in on. He is playing within a winning team system, and he's still getting his, right? I think that is something that if you're an NBA GM, if you're an NBA scout, right, you're looking at that like, okay, well, he can literally fit into any system. They're motivated to win games down there, not feed Brayden Burries the ball. They're feeding him the ball because he's getting his own within the flow of the offense. And I think that if you're going to win a national title, you have to have a bunch of cats that are built like that. And Arizona does, right? Koa Peat, we talk about it on McHale Madness. He could get 4 points. He could get 40 points and you could win the game because he is willing to do what it takes to win, whether it's, okay, they're going to send a double. Now I got to make a decision out of the double. This team has a ton of team-oriented dudes with elite talent, and it really makes them dangerous. I think you wanted to say something there. Go ahead.
No, I think you're 100% right. No NBA lottery team is drafting a franchise player. Nobody is. Nobody drafted in this year is a cornerstone, build the organization around this kid type of player. So when you look at how they're evaluating games, it's can he play? Does he know how to play? If he can play but he doesn't know how, then we can teach him. But if he can't play at that level, then that's a whole different discussion. But I think for the most part, Burries has already demonstrated the athleticism. He's got a great stroke. He can shoot. And he's coming from Tommy Lloyd's system. He understands concepts. Think back, and I go back to this. The night I think he really grew up, it was in Provo, Utah. It was the final possession of the game at BYU. And Brayden Burries was on the offside, and he left his man. He came in the lane, and he made the game-saving block for his homeboy, Jaden Bradley, who had 4 fouls and wasn't going to commit his fifth. He saved that game, and I think that win at Provo kind of catapulted this team. And when he made that play, that's a freshman understanding defensive concepts and responsibilities in a crunch time situation. That's upperclassman level thought process. And he displayed that just a handful of games into the season. So he clearly knows how to play the game. I think an NBA team would be lucky to get him. He's lightning quick. He's only going to get bigger, better, and stronger. So I wouldn't be surprised with somebody taking him in the first round.
And it's hard to find someone, and you would know better than me, but it's hard to find a point guard with that level of feel in transition as a freshman. I feel like getting an elite transition playmaker or elite transition scorer usually comes with either being an elite athlete at a young age or having thousands of reps, knowing what to do and where guys are going to be. Brayden Burries is a natural in transition. I think it really injects speed and pace into this Arizona team that we know Tommy Lloyd. He wants to, get up. He likes getting out in transition and running. Brayden Burries injects all of that into your roster. And we saw when he, whether it was when he went down with the rolled ankle earlier in the year, like missed a couple possessions and came back, or whether he was, playing through bronchitis, when he's not at 100%, the pace of this team drops. You know what I mean? You don't have that natural injection of take the ball off the rim and run with it right? You have to. Jaden Bradley likes to slow it down a little bit more. He can play in transition, but his game is in the half court. I feel like Brayden Burries, he is not the X factor for this team in any way because you know what you're getting with Brayden Burries. But if he can drive to the rim like he was doing today against LIU and hit logo threes, you're cooking with gas, Corey. I mean, that logo three was crazy.
I mean, the three is icing on the cake, but I mean, I can't count how many times he received the pass ahead from JB, and because it was 2-on-2 or one, it was 1-on-2, but he put his head down and would get to the rim and end up getting free throws. And I have a thing when I do games, I always pay attention to fast break points and like you're at the rim 3 seconds after a rebound or a made bucket. How many times did Burries use his young legs to get to the free throw line in a matter of seconds and put pressure on the team's perimeter guards? Like if you're getting back on D and you got to stop him from coming to the hole and you pick up your second foul, 12, 13 minutes left in the first half, it's more difficult for your team because now your guards are in trouble. He puts pressure on opposing guards in transition. He doesn't just back it out and set the defense up. He knows he thrives in those situations. He's explosive enough to dunk the ball. So really, him being aggressive, coming off of sound Arizona stops, whether they're blocks, defensive boards, whatever, steals, when they come and they kick it ahead to him and he's coming downhill, I haven't seen anybody yet step in front and stop him, take a charge, block his shot. The worst they do is either you let him score or you foul him, and Arizona's thrived on that all season.
Now, you mentioned blocks and taking charges and defensive things, effort plays. And that makes me think of one Ivan Kharchenkov, who, in my eyes, has been I think he actually is the X factor for this team, right? I've said that since the offseason. I've been a huge proponent of absolute Kharchenkov, and he comes out with a double-double today, Corey. 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. Ivan Kharchenkov, always great efficiency, 5 of 7 from the field. What did you see from Ivan today? I know I want to ask Saul a little bit more about that later, but what did you see from Ivan Kharchenkov today, getting it done? I mean, I think this is his first double-double since the Florida game in his debut.
I'm not, and this isn't a knock on his athleticism at all, because he is an athletic player. He's not the most athletic player, but he's an athletic player. But more than that, he's a smart player. He knows the angles. He knows how to put his body in situations to get a rebound, to get a steal, to get a block, to get to the free throw line. He plays basketball from a thinking man's mind frame of, I'm going to drive you to the elbow. You're going to cut me off. I'm going to bump you, and I'm going to raise up and shoot the fadeaway. I'm going to come baseline. I'm going to snatch it back, and I'm going to shoot a 15-footer. I'm in transition. I'm going to go right past the guard. Tobe's going to seal. I'm going to lay it up on an angle with my left hand. He thinks the game so clean that when you just read his stat line, if you just read his stat line and didn't tell me his name, in your mind, you're like, damn, dude was putting in work. Those are hellified numbers. And then if you go watch the game, he doesn't play above the rim. Very low energy buckets, very smart plays, very efficient. And that's not to take anything away from his game, because when you look at the stat sheet, yeah, he killed you. But to the average fan, are they oohing and on over the way he plays? Probably not. But every coach in the country wants a guy who knows how to play. Because when a guy knows how to play, it rubs off on everybody else. And a coach's nightmare is undisciplined offense and defense, guys making mistakes. And if 30% or 40% of your lineup, you got a senior in Bradley, you got a player like Kharchenkov, that's 40% of your lineup that already knows what they're doing. And then you add in freshmen who are figuring it out, but they're following these guys' lead, that's a good thing to have.
It is, and you mentioned Ivan Kharchenkov playing the game like a thinking man, and I don't want to get like a cliche here, but that's that European style of basketball. It really is, right? Winning on the margins, finding ways to contribute where your teammates might not be able to contribute. I feel like Ivan Kharchenkov comes in and just tries to plug gaps, right? Like he just tries to do what is needed.
It's when you get to be my age, it's that LA Fitness game. That's what he had. When you got to get buckets, you're not quick, you don't got the first step, and you're old like me, and you can't jump no more. And they say, man, OG killing. Yeah, pump fake, fade away, threes. But no, on a serious note, it's way better than an old man's game. But he doesn't put himself in situations where he's not going to be successful. So, and I'll tell you, I think he and Aristotle are the keys. If I'm seeing 10 points from either one of those guys or both of them at the same time, you really don't have a chance of beating Arizona. You
Yeah, I
just don't.
agree. I mean, we talk about what they can bring from a stats production standpoint, but their defense on the perimeter is unbelievable, and it's complete lockups, just absolute throw them in the big house. You know what I mean? If you got Ivan Kharchenkov and Dwayne Aristote out there at the same time, to me, that is one of the more lethal perimeter defensive combos you can put together left in the tournament of Ivan Kharchenkov and Dwayne Aristote. Dwayne Aristote might not put up a ton of crazy numbers, although Aristotelians stand up. Today might have been his day. He did have a great game today. 4 points, 2 of 4, 4 rebounds, a block, as well as an and one. But just what they bring defensively, I feel like, especially as freshmen, is incredibly rare and also incredibly impressive. Because if you're going to go far in the tournament, we know defense matters. We know defense is going to travel with you first, way before your jumper, way before anything else that you're going to run on an offensive standpoint. If Arizona is going to reach their goals, you do need Ivan and Aristote playing defense at a really high level, right, Corey?
You do. And, put yourself in the opposing team situation. You've got a team with size and wingspan at the point, at the 2, at the 3, Koa Peat at the 4. They're switching everything. And they're saying, hey, shoot it over us. And that's already, you're shooting 30% from the field, shooting over somebody contesting. So shooting over these guys is 30% if you're lucky. Should you happen to get by one of them, yeah, go shoot it over Krivas now. That's your reality. Dribble, handoff, switch. Dribble, handoff, switch. Dribble, handoff, switch. 8 seconds to go. Now you're trying something crazy against guys who really haven't been tested, and they know rather than pick up a cheap blocking foul, I'm gonna let you go. You got to deal with the 7'2" guy who's got great timing, and when he blocks it, it's to Burries and it's a layup. So defensively, for an offensive player, like, it's hard to find clean looks against this Arizona team because they'll just give you up and switch rather than let you get to the hole. And if you do get to the hole, you better have some hops and you better have some strength, because if you go weak, Krivas is going to block it. So just a tough team to score against and get buckets.
100%. I'm glad you bring up Krivas' involvement in all this. It's a great segue into that conversation, because when we spoke to Ivan Kharchenkov a couple months ago now, friend of the program, he was saying, when I asked him, like, what makes your defense so special, right? Like, what if you had to describe what gives you the X factor on that end, what is it? And he was saying, man, it's that 7'2" Lithuanian dude standing behind me that gives me all the room for error that I need to be aggressive, go for the ball, do what I got to do, funnel a guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Krivas, his impact defensively is unbelievable. I know you played a 16 seed today in Long Island University, who's not ever really going to be able to match up to Krivas' size and physicality and his rim protection. But going forward, Corey, I don't know of many teams outside of like a Michigan with Mara, or, you know what I mean? Like if Ngangba's able to come back for Duke or something like that, that can really contend with Krivas' size and physicality if he's locked in on the defensive end of the court.
I think Krivas is going to be of his own design. If he can refrain from picking up the no fouls, going over the back for a board that he really couldn't get to, or stepping out on a hedge and not being quick enough, or fouling a jump shooter, you hate to see somebody 7'2" picking up those type of fouls. If you're picking up rim protection fouls, that's different. One-on-one in the paint, that's different. But when he goes out, if he's not in foul trouble, he's going to be effective. And the longer he's on the floor, the fresher everybody's legs are, because guys aren't really testing you to go to the rim and deal with that. Guys are trying to give you the hezzy inside-out pull-up jumper, and then you just got to be there on that. But as the game wears on, the concept of going to the rim, it slowly gets out of your system, because the first time he gets blocked and there's a transition bucket, your teammates are looking at you like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why are you taking it in there, getting it blocked, and it's a live ball turnover, and then we give up stop going to the rim. So you look at challenging him as a possible turnover. You don't even look at it as an opportunity. That's the psychological effect of having 7'2" on the floor. Teams just stop going. Hell, big men get the ball, take a couple dribbles, and they pick it up, and they're looking to pass it back out because they know exactly who's standing behind them. And then opposite him, you got one of the best bigs in the country, and Tobe Awaka standing there, 6'9", 240 pounds, strongest player I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, points in the paint against Arizona is very rare.
It really is. It really is. And I want to keep talking about this front court, Corey, with you after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. So leave a like, stick around, do not go anywhere. And most importantly, drink your water. Or drink some Casamigos, because our friend over at Casamigos, you can enjoy the World Cup with Casamigos ready-to-go margs. We have a couple of those out there in our viewing area that, don't tell Shane, I might have to partake in after this postgame to celebrate a little bit. But
I'll join you.
Hell yeah, brother. Bring your friends, bring your Shanes, bring your fans, and bring your frenemies together, one Casamigos marg at a time. No matter who you're supporting in this upcoming World Cup or in the NCAA, tournament, you got a little college basketball action going on. It is March. No matter who you're supporting, say cheers with a Casamigos margarita. Pair your World Cup watch party with food with delicious, new, ready-to-enjoy Casamigos margaritas. Casamigos, the drink of the World Cup. Whether you're at your favorite spot or stocking up at home, make it Casamigos. Man, Casamigos, my favorite tequila of my college time, and definitely my favorite tequila of my modern time. And also our friends over at Circle K. I am in the great Studio K, my home away from home. And with Circle K, you can enjoy deals on everything from fuel to food. I'm talking about 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, and their Inner Circle Rewards membership program, where you can join for free right now and get 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Guess what? After that, we're not done. 3 cents off every time you fill up after that, until you take that tassel one side to the other, graduate into the 5 cents off per gallon group, and the deals, they simply do not stop. So for more on that, join the Inner Circle for free today by downloading that Circle K app. Terms and conditions do apply only at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. And we are back with the one, the only C-Dub, Corey Williams in the house, breaking down Arizona's 92-58 win over the Sharks of Long Island. We do have Saul Bookman calling in a little bit. He is live in San Diego. I believe he is in the locker room talking, just signing foreheads, kissing babies, doing what Saul does best, getting some film and audio from players like Jaden Bradley and company as well that we'll have during Saul's segment. But Corey, let's keep talking about this front court, because I tweeted it during the game, and yeah, I get it. We're playing a 16 seed. Some people are going to be like, well, of course your front court's going to look great against the Long Island Sharks, but we've seen it against top 10 teams, against bottom 10 teams. It does not matter. This Arizona front court is a force. And in your eyes, if we can rub the crystal ball and in middle of April, we're celebrating the second national title, if that is the case, do you think that the front court will be the reason as to why, Corey?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. Our front court was better than everyone else's in the Big 12. It was the toughest conference in the country, and we won it with a game to spare because our bigs outplayed everyone else's bigs. Every coach I talk to when I'm doing games, they walk up and they start talking about, man, Arizona's so big and they're so physical. And these are the coaches that played against Arizona. Think about it. The 2 games that Arizona lost were the 2 games where they didn't control the paint. Badunga was dunking all over Arizona at Kansas. He had 20 points, like 20 and 12, something like that. And then JT Toppin, Conference Player of the Year, went to overtime, had a monster game. Koa Peat didn't play in the second half of that game. That's the only 2 times Arizona's lost. They have controlled the paint in all 32 other games. So, yes, the bigs are the key. I don't care how good your guards are. DeBance is at home. There's a couple of guards that probably won't get out of the first weekend. That might be lottery picks. So, guard play is important because it helps you get good possessions. But at the end of the day, the taller you are and the closer you are to the rim, the math is the math. And if you can't rebound and you can't get points in the paint, you're probably not going to win.
I agree. And I think that watching this game, that's why I tweeted what I tweeted about. Arizona's size, speed, and strength will be the differentiator this tournament, because I don't know what team is going to be able to match the trio of Peat, Awaka, and Krivas. You got teams that might be able to match 2 of them, but not the third, right? You have teams that might be able to match Krivas, but not Awaka, right? Not Peat, right? Iowa State, you saw they throw Jefferson, condolences. They throw Jefferson at, Peat, but you got nothing for Krivas and Awaka. So right. I do think that is what makes Arizona so dangerous. And then you add to that you have the backcourt of Burries and Bradley. You have the wings that you do on both ends of the court. They're 2-way wings. This is a real force to be reckoned with. And so is our guy, Saul Bookman, who is live in San Diego, breaking this one down. Oh, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous setup. Unbelievable. Saul, how we doing?
Good. I lost my AirPods, and instead of going to the airport and paying $60 for another set, like some people I know,
That serves you right. That serves you
I just,
right.
I decided to just take my chances without one, and then go purchase one after this. So I guarantee you, I'm not paying $60 for it, though. I know that.
Neither am I. That was on the expense report, bro.
Now, Saul, you were out there in San Diego for this one in Viejas Arena. What were some of your instant takeaways from this game? Obviously, a blowout, 92-58, but just initial reactions as Arizona moves on to the round of 32.
So first, I always talk about Tommy's first season when they went to San Antonio, and I saw Houston come rolling out, and I felt like, oh man, we're about to get curb stomped. Like that's what I felt like. I felt like Houston was just on a different level at that time with Kelvin Sampson, and I was right. Like they were just a different team. When Arizona came rolling out today, I was like, oh boy, these dudes got no shot. They got zero chance. And I talked about yesterday, this team looked focused, and I think they used that first 10 minutes to kind of make a point like, hey, this is the tone we're going to set for the rest of the tournament. And yeah, they let up a little bit in the second half for a period of time, and the lead got cut down to 22. But at no point during this game did you ever feel like Arizona wasn't going to be able to win this game, or that they were even going to be in trouble. Like unlike some of the other one seeds yesterday, even Michigan struggled a little bit. Duke all the way down to the wire with Siena. And I think Arizona playing on Friday, they were the beneficiary of being able to watch those two teams struggle against 16 seeds and understand that if you don't come ready to play, it doesn't matter who you're playing in this tournament. Everybody's good. But there's different levels of good, and Arizona is on a completely different stratosphere than LIU in that regard.
As you said yesterday, and as we talked about on yesterday's pod with the clips that we played of Dwayne Aristode saying that he's out to literally kill his opponents, like this team certainly seemed locked in and dialed in, but you never know until you see them take the court, right? But today, Saul, as soon as they took the court, me and Corey were talking about it, this team feels focused. They feel like they're playing for their ultimate goal, but also taking it day by day. I know you mentioned the Houston kind of vibes that you got from this team, but anything else you can tell us about the overall mentality of the unit today? I know we have some clips that we're working on, not quite ready yet, but we're going to get those. But anything from just watching the team?
Yeah, first of all, yesterday when Jamal Fuller from LIU started off the press conference saying Arizona is not a good shooting team, I was just like, oh, brother, why'd you say that? Why'd you do that? Like, you don't listen, like for a 16 seed to pull the upset, you can have all the bravado in the world, but you also, it's kind of like what they used to say about Mike back in the day. Don't stoke the fire. Don't stoke the flames. If Mike ain't
confident
talking,
but humble.
Yeah, if Mike ain't talking to you, don't talk to him. Just let it go. And that's kind of what happened today. They came out, they started off the game 6 of 10 from 3, like it was nothing. And I'm just like, yeah, like these dudes can't shoot. And if you're giving them YMCA jumpers wide open like this, yeah, they're gonna cash them in. And they did exactly that. And that was just a foolish mistake by a young team. Listen, they were feeling themselves. They felt like they had a shot, but on paper, you're looking at points per game, not anywhere near Arizona's level, pace not anywhere near Arizona's level, and they're a 2-point shooting team. Like they weren't heavily reliant on the three, and that you're trying to fight fire with fire, and it wasn't going to work. So.
Now, I want everyone to like this video as well if you've not done so already. Also, subscribe to PHNX Sports. We are rapidly approaching 51K, and I want that 51K badly. Corey, what else? Do you have any questions for Saul before we dive into some of the other breakdown of this game?
So I just want to know, what was the vibe like? What was the atmosphere? How much of Tucson showed up in the gym this afternoon?
I mean, not only Tucson, but I mean, California is a very heavy Arizona, pro Arizona, demographic as well. And so, I mean, it was loud for Arizona. It was loud, and the empty seats that were there were probably only because of the Villanova and Utah State fans that took tickets and maybe showed up late. But yeah, no, it was heavy Arizona, probably like 90-10, and that 10 wasn't necessarily all LIU. It was just people rooting for the upset. So. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah, because from watching on the screen, I can tell you from literally, it was a long time ago, but first person, hearing that U of A chant come through the speakers on TV, I already knew the vibe that the kids were feeling because I know what that chant did to us as players so many years ago. You're not alone, and even if it's not Mikhail, it at least sounds like Mikhail. And sometimes, especially in these high leverage moments, that kind of stuff makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if because it's a 16 seed, it didn't make all the difference in the world, obviously, but it does feel good. It makes you feel good knowing that you basically have a home game in the first round. And I think it'll be more evident in round 2 against whoever wins this Villanova Utah State game. I think that's really, and even I think there's some Arizona fans that maybe took this one for granted as well, and decided to cash their checks for Sunday instead. And I can't blame them. I mean, on paper, LIU had no chance, and if I had to choose between one of the two, I probably would have opted for Sunday as well. So I expect an even bigger turnout on Sunday.
So I asked Corey the same question that I will now pose to you. What did you see from our superstar combo guard, Brayden Burries, today? I just wanted your thoughts on him. He was our king of the court for what it's worth. Obviously, he had a great game.
Just smooth, not rattled, but really poised. Didn't look like the moment was too much. Didn't even look anxious or nervous or anything. Like he never really seems like he's ever like his facial expressions are he's almost like Jaden Bradley, where he doesn't really give you much in terms of frustration or happiness on the court. Like he just does what he does. Today was no different. He went out there, he dominated. He was the best player on the court tonight. I thought it wasn't even close, and they handled business. They moved on. So I think when you see Brayden Burries and the way he was maneuvering out there, you just feel like a kid that might have been going through it health wise, that's finally on the backside of it, and he feels good. He looked fresh today. He looked better than I think he has in a couple weeks, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do on Sunday.
I mean, we talk about confidence. That logo 3 was like in stride, just felt it, took it, ripped it, nylon. It was perfect. I also wanted to mention, Saul, a comment from 3DMK, who I prompted the chat. Feel free to drop questions for Saul and Corey if you have any about this game. 3DMK wants to know, Saul, what were your thoughts on Aristode's game today? Also, some of the just lesser minute getters from today's game.
Yeah, he was a little rough. He was a little rough today. I don't think he played the cleanest game. I do think Aristode is one of those guys who, because of the size of LIU, and sometimes and Corey could probably attest to this. Sometimes you play these teams that are so small that they're a nuisance, and you're not used to it because you're playing against bigger guys. And sometimes that can throw you off, even though they might not be more athletic than you. It's just like these little they're like little water bugs that you're just trying to shoo away. And every time you put the ball on the floor, and 2 or 3 of them around you, they're going to take it. And I think Aristode was trying to figure out how to get through the game instead of just letting the game come to him. So not the cleanest game, but again, not a concern. I think he'll show up when they need him to as they move along. Certainly in the next round, I'm not too concerned about him. The other guy, CD Gay, he gave you some minutes off the bench just to keep your guys from having to play the full 40, which they need to, and they moved along. Like I will say this. The bench players today were fantastic. And I think what is my luck? I always find a way to be surrounded by look at this right now. Look at this. I have a college tour going on right around me right now.
Hey,
Like there was nobody here when I first showed up. This is crazy.
Where did you sit? Like, what landmark are you at?
I'm in the by the student union and whatnot.
Okay.
See, this is what happens when you pick the hot location to impress Kev. Now you got foot traffic that you wasn't expecting. Because I'm not gonna lie, the location was a flex. When you came on the show, it was like, wow, Saul's really rubbing our face in it with the beautiful sunshine, blue sky.
No, Corey, it's 1,000 degrees out here right now. I was trying to find some damn shade. I didn't care about the damn views. I was trying to stay out of the sun and melt. But I got 5,000 damn campus tours going around me, and I don't know how to act. Well, that's Kev, what's happening.
You need to tell Saul about branded bills, Kev.
Yeah, no, seriously, we do need you to get you into branded bills. He had one out there earlier, I thought.
Yeah, but I don't wear it on game days, guys. I got professional appearance that I try to maintain on press row. I'm not trying to wear my
got the beard lined up. You looking real G right now.
I'm trying to do my best out here, you know?
Well, while
All
Saul's
right, let me
finding
see
an
if
alternate location, I'm going to take our second and final ad break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. We got ad-free listening, smooth listening the whole way through. Stick around, leave a like, drink your water. Do not go anywhere. Unless you're headed to Gila River Resorts and Casinos, because March is here and you already know what that means. Wall-to-wall basketball coverage all day, all night. I know me and my bracket right here have been strapped in, loaded, watching the matchups. And Gila River Resorts and Casinos has you covered for these March matchups. Your courtside headquarters for every game that matters. This is not your average watch setup. We're talking premium seating, massive wall-to-wall screens. I can attest, I have watched many a UFC fight at Wild Horse Pass, and a full Vegas-style atmosphere that puts you right in the middle of the action. It's not just about the games. They also have food, drinks, thousands of slots, and live table games. And if you want to take it up a notch, you can reserve a table at Wild Horse Pass or Santan Mountain, but those spots are limited, so do not wait. This is how March is meant to be watched. Every buzzer beater, every upset, every moment. That Santa Clara, Kentucky game do anything for you? You could have been watching it at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Reserve your spot and experience the tournament like never before. Only at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Click the link in our description for more. And I gotta tell you about our friends over at the Window Depot. And no, man,
They're not just that.
More than just a window store. They're not just a window store. Everything from cabinets to skylights to countertops and even sinks. Because LIU tried to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Arizona Day, and it still did not work. But everything works at Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory, guaranteed. From windows and doors to cabinets and countertops, they stock more so you spend less. No wait times, no gimmicks, just everyday low pricing and a go-to inventory. Whether you're doing like a home renovation project or you're a full-on contractor, contractors and homeowners alike love the Window Depot because they give you everything you need and fast, high-quality stuff too. Need a custom order? If they don't have what you need in stock, they will make it happen for you. Their custom order program lets you customize based on your project's needs. So visit thewindowdepot.com and get started on your next project today. Stop by one of their 7 Arizona locations and see for yourself why they're more than just a window store. And I think Saul is all settled in some shade, and we can continue talking Arizona's 92-58 dub. What you got, Corey?
Shout out Window Depot, Ron Hess. Him and his wife are dear friends, huge Wildcat fans. They've supported the Tucson Summer Pro League for over 20 years as sponsors. So if you're going to get windows, doors, go see the real Wildcats. You won't be disappointed. I'm actually getting some stuff with them this summer, but I just wanted to add that. Shout out to Ron and his wife.
I mean, Corey, you could have did the read for me, brother. Save me some breath. That was beautiful. But yeah, shout out to Window Depot. They do great stuff, and they are a friend of Corey, which means they're a friend of all of us. Now, Saul, digging back into this game, what did you see from the freshmen? I asked Koa Peat. I asked Corey Williams this earlier on the post game. We talked preseason about how, well, if you're going to make it to the Final Four, you got to get X amount of points, X amount of rebounds, and we're so far past that, obviously. But what did you see from the freshman group tonight? They absolutely starred in their debut in the tournament.
I mean, they were solid. The moment wasn't bigger than they made it, and they played at a high level. That's exactly what you needed from them. Ivan Kharchenkov looked like he has every single game this season. I mean, all three of them. With the exception of Aristote, I think the 3 starters played exactly how they played all season long. They played consistent. They played strong. I think there was a couple things at the basket that at the rim for Koa that I would like to see him clean up. But other than that, I thought they were methodical in their approach. They knew they were the bigger and better team, and they played like it. And when you're a freshman and you know you're better than the other team, you don't play like a freshman. You just go out there, you do your job, and you move along because you know you should be beasting these dudes. And the only thing that was going to rattle this team is if the script was reversed, is if LIU came out on a 12-2 run to start the game instead of Arizona. Then you start to the whispers and the ghosts of March Madness start to mess with your head. You start to press a little bit and stuff like that. The way Arizona started off, there was no chance that was happening. They're a focused team and they're ready to go. So those freshmen are obviously a part of that cog. Brayden was just so smooth. I've already talked about him. Koa, I thought we got about, if I had to rate on a star basis out of 5 stars, I think Brayden was more of like a 4.5. I think Koa was more of like a 3.5 to 4, and I thought Ivan Kharchenkov was about a 4, and so I think they were all solid.
Now, one player that we did not discuss too much in terms of that freshman group, me and Corey, was Koa Peat. Can you kind of just round out the Koa Peat talk with, what you saw from him specifically today on the rebounding side of things? Because we know LIU, too small to hang with Arizona on the boards, but we've also been calling for Koa to crash a little bit harder. He gets 7 today. What'd you see from him that hopefully you might think carries into the rest of the tournament?
I mean, nothing that you could point to that you feel like I didn't feel like he got out rebounded. I didn't feel like he was out of position. My frustration with him was at the rim. Like I still feel like he needs to get a little bit more vertical on his finishes and stronger at the point of attack. He has a tendency sometimes to leave these little bunnies short or a little bit off, and that's just his approach. That's being definitive with what you're trying to do at the rim, and I feel like he was a little off in that regard. But again, like you're expecting one thing, and then you go up and you're like, oh yeah, we're not playing Iowa State and Houston right now. We're playing LIU, and they don't have the size to be able to do what I'm usually accustomed to. So it's a weird adjustment, and they won't have to do it again because Villanova won't lack that size. Neither will Utah State. But for this manner, I'm not going to dwell too much on it. I thought they all played solid, and Koa was solid too.
Before we get to your notebook, Saul, Corey, do you have any questions you wanted to hit our boy with before we get to his notes?
No questions at all. I thought that he covered everything.
Saul, what do you got in your notebook tonight?
I only have really one thing. I was kind of watching how Arizona was going through the game, and it was cool. It was fun. It never felt like anything was danger. Side note: those bums in Kentucky got lucky, and it was a tragedy that they didn't. And it's a tragedy that they didn't see Herb Sendek calling that timeout because I know he would have fouled up 3. And he was signaling for it all the way up the sideline. And those refs had zero. Those refs were so into the game that they completely ignored what was their duties were. And that's atrocious because I called that upset. And it should have happened. Anyway, I digress.
No, I'm with you. I'm feeling the same pain, Saul. I'm with you. Herb Sendek got Tony Padilla, and we can admit that.
Yeah. One of the things that sometimes I feel like we do overlook, it gets talked about, but March is more than just trying to win a championship. It's these schools that never get an opportunity to play in a tournament like this that get in there, and sometimes the beneficiary of a blowout, and it sounds weird to say that LIU was a beneficiary, is when you have a guy by the name of Eddie Munyak
awesome.
get a chance to come into the game and hasn't played all season. Gets into the only game he's gotten into all year long, banks a 3, and absolutely loses his mind. And I was sitting next to Steve Rivera, and I was just like, how great is that? And he was like, dude, that's what this tournament's all about, dude. This is so awesome. Like, I was so happy for that kid. And I asked some of the players in the post game what they thought about that. And Jaden Bradley actually gave a really good comment. He just basically said like that's awesome. Like that's we had the game in control, so like we weren't worried about anything, but you could see how much it meant to him. Like he gets to pull up, and Tommy in the post game, I asked him that question too, and Tommy was just like, years from now, he's gonna pull up the tape and be like, I hit a bank 3 against 3 potential lottery picks or 2 lottery picks,
and the 2026 national champions.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like that, how amazing is that? Like, and to not to completely borrow a phrase from Yogi Roth, Yogi Roth, but how great is ball? Like, how great is ball? Like, that's what this is all about, man. It was beautiful, man. So that's really my only note on today's game because I kind of felt like this game was handled, not much to worry about, and I knew LIU was about to have a FAFO moment. And they sure did in that first half. And now the Wildcats move on to the second round, and we'll see who they play. I'm going to go back and watch this Villanova-Utah State game. But good start, focused, intentional. I think that's the key word I would take away is they were intentional about their process. And, shout out to the kids who never get any run. And even Addison Arnold, Jackson, Reed-Francois had a chance at a bucket, and unfortunately he airballed. But then CD Gay got it and just yacked on somebody. So that was cool. They all got a little bit of love, and that's the cool part. And I know Corey has been part of teams. Hell, Corey's run to the Final Four, and I think a lot of people overlook this. Corey's run to the Final Four, the first 4 games were all blowouts. They blew out everybody. There was Melvin Booker's dad had nothing on that team. Like he couldn't hold. What my JV coach used to say, they couldn't cut the mustard, let alone lick the jar. And they ran through that first 4 games, and so like some of those bench players were able to get into those games, which is really cool to see. And so I know he has experience with that.
I mean, the tournament is so many different things to so many different teams. For Santa Clara, it's painful. It's the what if. Man, we should have knocked off Kentucky. For Duke, it's a oh my God, we better play better on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, or actually, yeah, they play tomorrow or they play today? I think they play
tomorrow.
So yeah, it's like the tournament is so many different things. And for the lower seeded teams that are happy to get the bid, they won their conference, they had the hats, the t-shirts, they celebrated, whether it's Hawaii in the Big West or LIU, you get your automatic bid and you show up. Not a lot is expected of you, but you're right. It's about making moments and making memories. And you always love the individual stories that are woven in. A lot of the coaches have been to the big dance before. So it's not so much for them, but it's what do the kids get out of it? Great moments. Unfortunately, somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. But, big picture for Arizona. If you're Tommy Lloyd, you got 2 games in 3 days. Nobody played 30 minutes today. Most guys played low 20s. You got a 30-some-odd point victory. Jaden Bradley had 7 points on 5 shots. He didn't even shoot a free throw. Not to say he wasn't playing, but he was playing the way they needed to play to get what needed to get done. Everybody's rested. Nobody got hurt. We made a bunch of threes, so we feel like we're in rhythm for the game tomorrow on Sunday. So that's the key thing. It's, hey, what do we want out of the first round game? We want to win. We want to develop good habits, see the ball go in the hoop, no fouls, no bad habits. And it's easy to get into bad habits in a blowout. And Arizona did not fall into bad habits. So for me, I give it an A+. It was damn near as a perfect game as you could play for the first round of an NCAA tournament.
Now, I do believe we have Saul's interview with Ivan Kharchenkov that he conducted in the locker room as well. But before we get to that, I want to prompt everybody to like this stream. We got some great post-game coverage, Arizona versus Long Island. And we also are going to have pre-post watch-along coverage for the rest of these NCAA tournament games. But without further ado, let's hear from the man, the myth, absolute Kharchenkov himself.
Pretty good. Especially for the first game, we didn't let it slide. We played a 16 seed, but there were a couple letdowns, especially when we were out big. They got a couple of runs, a couple of threes, a couple of easy good looks. We had to tweak and play 40 minutes.
You guys seem like you were pretty focused, no letdown. Tommy talked about how you guys prepared for LIU, the same as you were prepared for Houston. Is that how you guys felt going into this game? Do you feel like you guys executed relatively high?
Yes, it was a little theme going into this game, to prepare the same for any other game. But obviously we were aware that humidity could happen. But we managed to do our best, not let to let it happen.
Was it easier to play on Friday as opposed to Thursday and see what was happening around the country and seeing a team like Duke struggle with Siena and their one seed as well, and understanding that this is a little different tournament?
Yes, definitely. That gives you a great look, even if you're the first seed playing against a 16 seed. There's a reason why they're in the tournament. It gives you a little bit of a wake-up call, and that helped us even, to take this game even more serious.
Obviously, as you guys go along, it'll get more intense. But how did this compare as opposed to the European tournaments that you used to play in?
It's the only do or die thing we play in Europe is the European Championship or the World Cup. And so we play a group phase, basically the regular season, and then we go into the top 16. It's pretty much the same, just the competition is off a little bit better. Here are 64 teams, obviously, but still, there's a bigger pool of teams, so I'm pretty proud of our team that we didn't let loose.
Great questions by our guy, Saul Bookman in the locker room after Arizona takes down LIU. Any final thoughts on Ivan Kharchenkov that you took away from that time with him there in the locker room, Saul? Corey as well?
No, I just think this whole team's just business as usual. It's just one step in front of the other. And they're on a mission, man. I feel it. I feel like they're on a mission. They might falter. They might falter at some point, but man, it's really hard to believe that their mentality going into these games is going to be the reason why they falter. Like I just don't see that. Like when you were talking about Duke yesterday, I forgot what his name is, but talking about
Malik Brown thought it was going to be a cakewalk. He said.
Yeah, talking about how they thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Like that's the wrong mentality to have in this tournament, because you will find yourself on the way home. Like you can't take anybody lightly, because you just never know. You just never know. So you got to play at a high level and go from there. And I just don't see this team ever having that kind of letdown at all.
No, I agree with you 1,000%. When you talk about, Shear telling his guys in the locker room, hey, you guys thought this was going to be a cakewalk. That's the division I see all the time when I do college basketball games. I see coaches who are trying to get their teams to perform. It's like an agent managing an actor or an actress, trying to get them to perform. Or you have someone who's managing a fighter. Tommy Lloyd's managing. Our guys fight. We don't have to worry about that. They're not interested in performing. They're fighters. They love to fight. So for them, they're in a weird situation, because no matter how many bouts they win, the fans are like, yeah, but. Well, guess what? We're here now. This is the but that the Arizona fan base has been waiting on all season. So these feel like they have, even though got a stellar record, won the league, won the tournament, got a 1 seed. The fan base, and when you listen to the interview you did with Ivan, they're like, yeah, but we know. Like, this is the fight. We've been waiting 3.5, 4 months for this fight right here. So this is the one that I think Arizona, I don't agree with Saul 100%. You're never going to have to worry about the mentality, because they're fighters. We've been watching them fight. That's what they do. They're not actors. They're not dancers. They're not performers. They're not singers. You got coaches begging their guys, man, you guys going to play good today? I mean, how do you feel? You feel good? Do you feel like going out there and performing? Because that's what they're doing. And I've said this all the time. The NCAA tournament is where narratives go to die. It doesn't matter what you've been saying about your team all year. It doesn't matter what your fan base has been thinking. It doesn't matter what people saying in the comment section, or how you feel, or like Saul says, what the vibe is. We're going to find out who's real and who's not. 80%, almost 80% of the tournament will be home by Sunday. So this is the real deal. And I love the fact that Arizona is just matter of fact. They've never gotten too high. They never get too low. And like you said, despite all their success, they feel like they've got a lot to prove. And here we are in the final stages of the season. They've had unbelievable success, won 90-something% of their games, and they still feel like they have something to prove. I think that's great for Wildcat fans, but I got to imagine for Tommy, it's a joy to coach kids with that mentality.
Now, Ernesto in the chat says the players have bought into Tommy Ball, and that is huge. And we've talked about it at multiple points in this season, but it feels like this is, if you gave Tommy Lloyd 5 years ago, like a dream scenario as to what a roster for him would look like, it would probably look a whole hell of a lot like this year's roster, right? Like, it feels like this is a Tommy Lloyd roster from head to toe, and they have his exact mentality, right? Like possession by possession, zero-sum game mentality, where we're just going to try to win each possession and then win each game and see where the chips fall after that. Now, I did want to ask you, Saul, a question from Deborah that was posed earlier in this chat was, where do you think this team has to improve yet still? Right? Great performance today, great performance in the regular season. But if you're going to beat Utah State or Villanova, you probably have to continue to improve. You cannot afford to regress. What are some areas you want to see Arizona continue to grow in going forward? And I'll pose the same question to Corey after.
I don't know if I necessarily think that they have to improve too much. I think they just have to clean some things up. The free throw shooting is probably one. They've been up and down from the free throw line. They've had games where they've shot phenomenal from the free throw line. They've had games where they've shot really piss poor. So I think that's one. And then the other thing is, just taking care of the ball. The problem with Arizona has been this year, and it's such a minute problem because they've always survived, is that when they do get big leads, they have had a tendency to kind of let up and let teams back into the game, and then they extend the lead again. In the tournament, you might have a FAFO moment yourself by letting the wrong team come back into the game, and then you not being able to extend that lead back up to where it was. And you don't want to play that game of cat and mouse. And while tonight, they were up 30 and then dropped it down to 20, like 22 is like not a big deal. But, going from 12 to 2, which we saw it against Houston just a week ago when they were up 15 and all of a sudden it was down to 1. But then they kicked it back up to 9. And so, like, you don't want to keep playing with fire like that. I do feel like I've said this. I'll continue to say this. I still think that this Arizona team, this is the scary part. Their best basketball is still ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe that. Like, I just feel like Koa Peat can still play like Florida Koa Peat. And Jaden Bradley can cook, and Brayden Burries can cook, and if Kharchenkov can do all the things that he does well, Delhi could be hitting from the 3, and all those parts just working smoothly together, and they could blow a team out by. Honestly, I could easily see them playing a 4 or a 5 seed in the round of 16 and blowing them out by 30 if they were all clicking, because they're that good of a team. But we haven't seen that. It's usually 2 or 3 guys that are on, the other ones are a little bit off. And so that balance, but that's how good they've been. That's how good this team is.
And for me, I'm like I told you before on our pod, so I'm just watching the foul count because I already know if Tommy has everybody at his disposal over 40 minutes and they let us play, that's not going to be a problem. I've been watching the whistle on all games, and I can tell you right now, I don't know if the refs got together and had a meeting or what, but they are letting everybody play. There are no
Good.
weak and ones. There are no ticky-tack fouls. You can't cry or complain to them. They're just sprinting away. They blow the whistle and they take off. So they're letting everybody play big boy basketball, and that's a great sign for Arizona. I see a lot of refs. I don't talk Arizona basketball. I talk in generalities. And the truth is, refs are sensitive to a lot of the criticism they get. So you know what? It's the tournament. You guys play, and unless you're bleeding, we're going to tuck the whistle. Go ahead and do your thing. That plays well for Arizona.
Shadrach Lassu, the starting forward for LIU. I saw him during a timeout talking to the ref. I don't know what the ref said, but I'm going to paraphrase from body language and say that he was just like, bro, this is big boy basketball. Like, you got to man up, straight up. Like, we're not calling this, like when Krivas puts his arm down and and you flail, like, bro, we're not calling that. Like, all because he's 7 foot doesn't mean that you get to just use that as a defense against you. Like, that's just not what it is. Like, you got to man up, you got to play defense. You were short sized because God made you that way. Deal with it.
Well, it's a good point you make, Saul, because it's like, yo, you're having a little shocking experience right now because this is your time. This is your first time playing against a team like this. I can't help you with what's going on out here. Yes, you've never boxed out a guy as strong as Toby Awaka. Well, welcome to the big leagues. But that's the attitude across the entire tournament. They're not calling no weak fouls for anybody. Now, they did mess up on Herb's timeout. I thought that was very egregious. But overall, these crews, these refs that haven't worked these teams and are working them for the first time, they're like, bro, we're calling a basketball game. I don't care what conference you're from, what conference you're from. And the coaches know this isn't league play where you know the refs and you can get on them and maybe juice them for a call or two. These refs have no loyalty to these coaches. They're calling whatever they want, and if the coach don't like it, it is what it is. We are at the tournament. It's the best of the best, so I think that that's good. And lastly, for Arizona, they did something that I was very proud of in an opening game. I watched this game with my analyst hat on, with my alumni hat on, with my former washed-up athlete hat on. All my hats are on. But something happened during this game that I thought was outstanding. They made CBS go to the junk bin in B-roll and talk about the 1951 LIU matchup. When you whooping somebody ass so bad that the director has time to pull up, because when we do games, we have this stuff in the trunk. We just hope we never have to go to it. But when you whooping somebody ass by 30 and they start showing black and white pictures of the game from 1951, I said, that's my boys. That's how y'all supposed to handle business. Make them go to the B-roll, Saul. I loved it.
We were laughing in the office, Corey.
In every game. Huh?
We were saying that those don't even look like pictures. They so old, they look like paintings. They got textures that you don't see in pictures. They got cracks that don't usually happen.
Bro, they had to break out the pre-civil rights B-roll footage for the game. I loved it. Take them back. You got nothing else to talk about. This game, it's 8 minutes to go, and this game been over. They're like, damn, what do we got? Oh yeah, and I love it. That's the game. I want Arizona to do that to the announcers every night out. Beat them so bad they got to go dig up facts and trivia. I love that.
I do want to touch on that for a second.
The civil rights.
So Kevin Hart. So, no. So the broadcast. So I was sitting right behind Kevin Harlan and
we have this. We do have
and
this.
Van Gundy and Robbie Hummel. But it was really cool to see Kevin Harlan be able like direct basically while he's doing his play-by-play, like and it was really cool to see him like cue guys like when to talk, like on in important moments that he thought were important. And he was, it was just it was like he was choreographing everything. It was kind of cool to watch because I've never really seen a play-by-play broadcaster do it to the level that he did it tonight. I've seen him, the good ones do this to a degree, but man, he was just, like holding my guys back on a big moment or, whatever. And I would love to see what it looks like when it's like an actual close game, because I think he'd be a little bit more involved. But man, it was really something to see. It was pretty cool.
That's a great point. And Saul, we talk about crisscross applesauce Saul at the BYU game sitting courtside. How about business casual Saul courtside at the West Regional? Look, it's his camera moment.
It was amazing on the watch along. Leah goes, "Oh my God, that's Saul!" And then right when she said that, you waved at the camera.
That's true.
Saul looking like he over there selling used cars. He just got the smile going and everything.
Got the Jed Fish fit on, but Saul, it was really cool seeing you on the broadcast. And I'm glad
I got the Jed Fish fit. Why are you going to disrespect me by saying I got the Jed Fish fit on?
Because he said used car salesman, and that's the first used car salesman that I thought of. And also, I owe you one because you've been calling me Eddie Lampkin for 3 months.
Bro, you look like Eddie Lampkin. What are you talking about?
Tangentially, like kind of.
That ended up at Syracuse. From Colorado to Syracuse, the big man?
From TCU
that's
to
nasty. That's
from
nasty.
TCU
That's foul.
to the garbage bin to Syracuse.
Yeah, TCU to Colorado.
Line. That's slander.
Bro, look up Eddie Lampkin. Corey, tell me Kev doesn't look like his little brother.
Okay. I'm gonna stay
That's
out
not
of
slander.
It's messed up,
It
man.
is.
He has grown man infant face.
Yeah, it's not a good person to be compared to.
Like if he was a baby without the beard, I would believe it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He has not grown out of his infant face.
Okay. All right.
This is not chill. Chat, I would say
if it makes
Shane
you feel any better,
Eddie Lampkin face.
if it makes you feel any better, somebody said that my golf swing looks like Charles Barkley at the end, which wow. I was like, dude, that's like the ultimate disrespect. I like, why would you say that?
Yeah, even I.
Hey man, no
bad.
Charles Barkley slander on this pod because he has been pronouncing this the Arizona ass kicking invitational, and we are 1/6 of the way there. Arizona defeats LIU 92-58. Shane, do we have the Jaden Bradley situation?
I can get it pulled up, yeah.
We're about to pull up the Jaden Bradley interview that Saul did after Arizona's beatdown of the Sharks. People have been talking about fins up. The fins are now in my soup, and that is how we're cooking this. But yeah, we do have a couple seconds here before we get the JB interview. But Saul, any thoughts on Jaden Bradley as we head into the meat of the NCAA tournament? We're getting that interview loaded up.
No, nothing. He's just, he did his job today. He's a professional hooper. He's been a professional hooper for years.
Yeah, he played 23 minutes. He had 5 for 7. I don't even know how many assists he had. I don't think he had.
I think we lost you, Corey. You gotta when you lean over,
you
get
talking
pretty
to the
quiet.
mic, bro.
Yeah.
Your mic is turned.
He had 4 assists. But the no free throws tells me he wasn't even trying to go to the rack. So he's just out there on cruise control, making sure things ran smooth. And we all know, with 35 seconds to go in a tight one, there's no way he's not getting to the free throw line or looking for more shot attempts. So shout out to Arizona for doing it however they had to do it, but getting it done for the first one.
Now, I do want to bring this up because go ahead.
Can I say one thing?
Of course.
I do want to before we wrap it up. I do want to say I'm a fan of Greg Gordon. I thought his game was nice today for LIU. He's got some skills, man. It's too bad he's a senior and he's all done, but he was the one. He was the only one, in my opinion, that was like he was actually hooping out there for LIU. Like he wasn't afraid of anything, and he did it with such like joy. Like that's the thing. Like he was smiling the whole game long, like competitive as hell, but still like enjoying the moment, like because he knows this might be his last game, and I could tell that he was absorbing it all. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Shout out to Sean, who says they're finished. But now we do have that Jaden Bradley interview that Saul did in the locker room after Arizona's 92-58 defeat of the Long Island Sharks. Let's send it over to the closer.
We know, these games are tough, especially the first game. So we didn't want to give them, a chance to stick in there, have any confidence. They're a great team. They hit shots to get down in the paint. So just the pressure and the defense, we set the tone kind of in the beginning.
Obviously you guys knew you would have the size advantage for sure. And even you a little bit taken back when you saw like how you guys really did match up, and like the size was pretty thick.
Yeah. So we just didn't want to go on there trying to tiptoe into anything. We wanted to punch first. We're not protecting anything, and like you said, we had a size advantage in some of our positions. Big Mo, he's a great post player. So if they weren't doubling at first, so we were feeding him. He was getting good looks. They started doubling. Cole got going, Brayden, Yvonne. So we were able to play off each other, depending on what the defense is doing.
I'm not going to say chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Jamal Fuller for LIU yesterday was just started the press man that said that Arizona's not a good shooting team.
Yeah.
Then you guys come out and shoot 6 for 10 from 3 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
No. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not really on the media this time of the year, so I'm not hearing all this stuff. But they're gonna have to take away something. We're so dominant in the paint. They got to collapse in there. We got great shooters. Brayden, Deli, everybody on the team, we got great shooters. So we're confident enough, and if we miss, we got Tobe, we got Big Mo, everybody crashing the rebounds and get a second chance points.
How important is it that you guys were able to extend the lead so much that you're able to get some of the guys that usually get to run into the game because they put in a lot of work behind the scenes as well, and especially in the tournament. You put your name down, I got at least a minute played in the tournament. It's a big deal.
No, for sure. It's stuff we talk about on just, giving back to the people behind the scenes. We handle business, the starters and people that play handle business. And we gave our people that help us throughout the year, the scout team, do a great job of giving us looks from our opponents. So happy to get those guys in and get them some good looks, and they did amazing today.
Last question on the flip side, LIU, kid 14 hits that bangs 3 after.
Yeah.
What'd you think looking at the excitement?
He was excited, happy for him. In that moment, like you said, it's not every kid on that plays college basketball gets some get this moment, get this opportunity, and happy for him.
Now that was obviously the answer that Saul was referencing earlier about the LIU player that came in and hit his first bucket in the NCAA tournament and went wild. That was a really great feel-good moment, and it really is what March is all about. Like, I've been talking to people. We'll get back to Jaden Bradley in half a second, but I promise I'm gonna bring this back around town here in a second. I've been talking to people about this, my bracket that I've taken with me everywhere, right? And people have made a little bit of fun of me, but I think people get the point, right? It's adding fun to March Madness. Because what is March Madness about outside of if you're in the actual competition? It's about having fun with the sport that you love so much. Me taking this damn bracket everywhere to the grocery store, tucking it in at night, updating it after every game. Like, that's what March is for. It has added at least 25% extra fun. And I'm glad to hear that Jaden Bradley understands that for teams that might not make it as far as Arizona is projected to make it this year, this is the Super Bowl that you will relive until you are old and on your deathbed. You know what I mean? Like, that is something that guy will talk about in a bar or at church or whatever he's doing until he passes away. Like, this is a huge moment, and I'm glad to hear that out of JB there. Some nice maturity there.
Yeah.
I think one hooper to another. I think hoopers all recognize one thing. We all share it in common. You want to go as far as you can. You want your career to go for as long and as far as it can. And if playing the number one team in the country in the tournament is the peak of your career, then let me get a bucket against these fools. Hey, it is what it is.
100% now. Go ahead, Saul.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say now, we did talk to Jaden Bradley, obviously, about the game and about the takeaways from the game. He's iced out, as always. But we also talked to Addison Arnold as well. And here is what he had to say about the game.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I'm glad the guys got it done early, took care of business so that I could get a few minutes.
Smoked a little late, but I guess I'll be back at the gym working on it. Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, what's it like, knowing that the team is handling business, they're up 20, 30 minutes, you kind of feel like, okay, I might get a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened in a lot of games this year, to be honest, even some where, we didn't expect it to happen. So I'm going to be honest, when it's like 4 minutes left and we're up 30, sometimes the butterflies start a little bit. I'm like, oh, shoot, I might get a couple minutes now, not just like 30 or something. So, yeah, I definitely get a little nervous for a second, but right when I check in, like, it's out the window. But it's cool to see the guys get it done always.
Yeah, you talk about your teammates,
Yeah, man.
trying to get some run in, and you guys work just as hard behind the scenes as anybody else too.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, first we got to shout out the top 8 guys for always getting it done for us. I mean, they take every game serious. We were up a lot at half. They could have let their guard down, but they kept playing hard, and it gives guys like, me and other guys who come off the end of the bench, more opportunities. So we work hard. Obviously, my fellow teammates at the end of the bench too work really hard every day. So it's cool to be able to get some run in big environments like this too.
I know it's the other teams. He's on 14 for the other team. With the bank 3 at the end. Just to see the emotion on his face.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, when it's a game like that, like I'm happy for him. It was a good bank shot. So obviously in the moment I'm not thinking it, but it's cool to see that kind of environment. I mean, March is cool for that kind of stuff. So good on him, be able to end the year with that.
Now, Saul, obviously a great answer there from Addison Arnold as well, who did get some minutes in this one. Smoke delay, but it's okay. Now, I wanted to throw this before we get out of here, Saul. First of all, leave a like on this stream if you've not done so already. I want at least 70 likes before we get out of here today. I wanted to poke your brain and Corey's brain about potential thoughts on Utah State and Villanova. That game is entering halftime, very close. Right now it's 39-37 Nova, but it looks like a toss-up. Do you have any preferences as to who you might want to face if you were the Arizona Wildcats?
I forgot what movie it was, but I think the quote was, "I don't care, F them all." That's I don't care who they play. I don't care who they play. Like whoever it is, like that's the next one up. And I don't think this team cares either. Like like Tommy always likes to say that thinking about matchups and stuff like that, that's for the fans. I'm gonna adopt that personality for today. And like I don't care if it's Villanova, I don't care if it's Utah State. They can both catch the business. Like it's time for the next step, and that's it.
Corey, you have any preferences? Utah State, Villanova?
I think to Saul's point, it really doesn't matter. It's more about what we do. If we play inside out, we're going to beat either one of those teams. I think it'd be easier to break Villanova mentally than it would be Utah State. Utah State's had a ton of success. They're used to winning. They're not going to just fold unless you punch them in the gut and make them fold. Villanova, they may not be happy to be here in a way. So, I mean, I'd rather probably see Villanova just because we build a lead on them. I think they may go away. I don't think Utah State would lay down and die unless we just actually went out and killed them. So, no disrespect to either team, but to Saul's point, it doesn't matter either way. I think if we play the way we're capable, we're looking at double-digit win either way.
What Corey just said reminded me of something. So I was able to see Rick Pitino for the first time yesterday, which he's even more surreal in person than I thought he would be. And he had this quote because I guess the New York media was asking, is there a chip on their shoulder because they were the 5 seed instead of the 4 seed and had to come all the way out to California to play. And he immediately was like, listen, hey, this is what I love. He sets you up for failure because he was like, you guys in the media, especially the ones that cover us on a daily basis, are elite. And like, I love talking to you guys. You guys understand the game. He's like, but I'm gonna say something. He's like, y'all need to knock this off because you think because we were a 5 instead of a 4 that makes all the difference in the world. Oh, and we had to leave like bad weather in New York to come all the way to sunny California by the beach to play basketball. Like, y'all need to knock this off, like, because that's crazy. And I sat there and I was like, that's facts. Like, it don't matter. Like, yeah, okay, they came out to San Diego. It's San Diego. It's beautiful out here. Like half these dudes probably never seen the beach on the West Coast before, and now they're getting to hoop out there. Like, come on, man. And they got a chance to play Kansas in the second round. Like, everything's right there in front of you. to be able to do what you need to do to advance the Sweet 16, man. Like, he was like, that's not a narrative at all. So please stop running with it, is what he said. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I love it too. Like I said, it's where narratives go to die. I mean, as a journalist, it's literally your job to wrap narratives around sporting events, but the coaches and the players have no use for that. And when you try to draw them into it, a lot of the coaches will be gracious and play along, but not Pitino. Pitino's like, yeah, get out of here with that. We don't care. You know, Tommy Lloyd, when they asked him about the LED court at the Big 12 tournament, we'll play on asphalt. And he really means that. Like, I'm not going to buy into these narratives. So it's interesting. It's refreshing. You know, he's a straight shooter, you know, a guy who's tough.
Now, Saul, real quick, we don't got to do too much conversation on this, but you reminded me of something I saw. You said how Rick Pitino was pretty gracious to the young media that were there. I want to give a shout out to VCU head coach Phil Martelli, who went out of his way to give a very, very, very heartfelt and sweet thank you to the student journalists who had drove there not to get paid, but yet to cover the sport out of the love of the game. And I thought that was very cool. So if you've not checked that out, go check out Phil Martelli, his press conference from last night. Very cool opener there. We do have some super chats to get to. Yeah, it was a really cool story. We do have some super chats to get to real quick before we get out of here, Saul. So I'll bid you adieu, and me and Corey will wrap this one up. I know you got a whole lot more coverage to get to. He is Saul_Bookman, doing it all. I mean, Rod Strickland, historian, Arizona Wildcats journalist, media member. He is doing it all. Check him out at Saul_Bookman. Saul, anything else before you get out of here?
Nah, I appreciate you guys. Have fun. Corey, thanks for jumping on the pod today and helping out the cause. And let's get them on Sunday.
Thanks to Saul Bookman. Now me and Corey are going to read these super chats and head on out of here. I want another like. If you have not done so already, I want you to subscribe to this channel, get us to 51K, and become a Supporters Club member. If you're already a Supporters Club member, please flex your closer emotes on those that do not have them in the chat. My mother with a $20 super chat. Love the combo of Kevo and Corey. I mean, this is just what we do, Corey. We fill in where we can, and we give good takes as we try, you know?
You know me, I come in off the bench, Arizona, 4 for 6, 3-pointers in the Final Four. I come off the bench.
Okay, Corey. Okay, Corey, let him know. Let him know, man. Jane Farrell, Damon's mother, with a $5 super chat. First round W, BTFD. And I will add parenthetically that I miss Damon maybe more than Jane does on this very stream. My buddy will be back for the next post game, dealing with a family matter today, but he'll be back. AZ Cats G, our buddy, our friend, our traveling Wildcat. Shane, you don't know this. AZ Cat G, this is not hyperbole, goes to every Wildcat like away game that he can. Like if it's like, you know, Holiday Bowl, if it's like the first round of NCAA tournament, the man is there. AZ Cats G, good show, guys. BTFD. You know we appreciate you, AZ Cats G. But this has been a banger post-game episode of the AZ Wildcats pod, and I would be remiss to not mention we got shirts. Everybody, we have beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous t-shirts that we will be promoting in the chat. I will go ahead and drop that link right now for anybody and anybody that wants to get in on this action here. We have the Bear Down, podcast logo t-shirt. We have the Arizona Diehard BTFD t-shirt, the We Run Things t-shirt, because one Big 12 title this year wasn't good enough. We had to do both of them, the regular season and the conference tournament. We run that. And you got to embrace the chaos. It's officially NCAA tournament time, which means there's no better time to invite some chaos into your life. Get these shirts as you wish. I know I'll be rocking my pod logo Bear Down shirt here very, very soon. Hopefully it is on the way. I'm dropping that link right now. But Corey, we got to get you in a couple of these shirts, you know?
Anybody who wants my t-shirt, it's all my nieces and nephews sitting on the couch. I can get this to you too, you know.
I don't know if you want to be selling that, Corey, but yeah, Corey got nieces and nephews on the shirt. You can't buy that on our website, but you can appreciate it in the chat.
Hit
drop
me
a
on
like for Corey's
Instagram.
t-shirt.
Yes. They're very expensive. They're very expensive kids.
I'm sure they are, Corey. Any final thoughts before we get out of here today? Corey, thanks for joining me.
You know, everything that went right needed to go right. Guys are somewhere in a hotel with their feet up, relaxing, looking at film, watching the game of who they're going to play. So couldn't be a better start for Arizona.
Could not be a better start for Arizona. Could not be a better start for these two on the post-game show. Thank you all for tuning in today. Arizona will face the winner of Utah State Villanova in the round of 32, game 2 of a potential 6 kicks off Sunday, tips off Sunday. I'm pumped about it. He is Corey Williams. You can follow him doing a bunch of commentating stuff. Corey, are you calling any games coming up here soon?
We just finished with the NIT, so I'm officially out of rotation. Now it's all CBS, and a couple of other guys for ESPN are taking on the NIT and the women's tournament, obviously. But your boy is chilling now. Another season in the books.
I love to hear that for our guy Corey Williams, because he deserves a vacation just about as much as these Arizona Wildcats. But they got to finish, and they got to earn that vacation with a national title. You can follow him at College Corey, Corey, on Twitter. And you can follow me at KevoPost, KevoPosts. Our podcast, me and Damon, at the PHNX_Wildcats on Twitter, and AZ Wildcats Pod on TikTok. And until next time, folks, peace out, bear down, and go Cats. We are on to the round of 32.
We all silly like the mayor.